The Antikythera mechanism is the oldest known computer that we have in hands, in fact, in the National Archaeological Museum. These are the largest fragments of the mechanism that you can see if you come to the museum, and one can very easily see several gears like this one or that one below, and some writings, scales, circular and spiral. Antikythera mechanism is a very important device. Some people believe, and I'm prepared to accept it, that it is the most important artifact of all times. It proves that humans can understand nature and even predict it using appropriate mathematics that represent the laws of nature. It also shows that humans can really do whatever they are prepared to conceive and then plan, design, and perform, of course. The Antikythera mechanism looks like a double-faced clock with some doors with inscriptions, pointers. This is the moon, half black, half white, and this is the sun, the year, and also the zodiac, which is a map of the sky. The other side contains several dials and pointers, like this one at the top, which is a 19-year calendar, sort of, a lunisolar one, that we call the Metonic Cycle. There is also another dial for the Olympic Games and the other games that the Greeks had at the time, and an even longer 76-year calendar, which is the Callippic period, while down here the spiral scale gives you the prediction of both solar and lunar eclipses. This machine has been designed and constructed based on the Greek philosophy, especially the Pythagorean philosophy, and in fact, as we will see, in one of the gears we really read what I like to call Pythagoras Signature. This is the display at the museum. This is the largest fragment with the gear of the sun. This is the gear of the sun, and we have studied its surface using three-dimensional photography. A radiography of the largest fragment, where we can see several gears and some spiral scales. And here we have the manual of the computer with the laws of physics they use to predict the phases of the moon and also the eclipses, lunar and solar. The Antikythera mechanism has been designed and constructed based on the Pythagorean philosophy that believes that nature can only be understood in terms of mathematics and physics. Pythagorean philosophy is based on the rule that numbers, mathematics that is, and symmetries are the principles that we can base our understanding of nature. And of course, in this, geometry comes together with harmony that is embedded into the symmetries that enables science to understand nature. The cosmos is based on harmony. In fact, it is harmony. Harmony is a very important constituent of the universe. And the very word cosmos, in fact, means order and, of course, something very beautiful, as the cosmos is, in fact. All the harmony of the cosmos, the so-called music of the spheres, is included in the Antikythera mechanism. The designer of this wonderful mechanical cosmos includes all the then known resonances that include the motion of all the planets that we call music of the spheres. The resonances in the solar system and in astronomy in general, in all celestial bodies, is a very important part, resonances everywhere, and in particular in the Antikythera mechanism. And it is very surprising, but it is a fact, that the ancient philosophers, and in particular the Pythagorean ones, know this very well and take it into account in their understanding of the cosmos in all its aspects. The mechanism really reproduces what has been called for centuries the music of the spheres. So really the harmony of the cosmos, of the universe. And in fact, this very mechanism has in the manual, in its construction as well, in the gears of the mechanism, several resonances of the sun, the moon, the earth of course, and the planets. A very good example is the so-called Octagris, which means an 8-year period, which was probably a prehistoric calendar used by the Greeks for centuries, if not millennia. And as an example, the period of the Olympic Games, we know that is a 4-year one, in fact is a 49-month period for the first 4 years, for the first Olympiad, let's say, and for the next one is 50 months. So in 8 years we have 99 months, and during this period Venus goes around the Sun 5 times. So this is one of the resonances that are included in the mechanism, and we read all these, of course, in the scale of the Olympics, and in some of the years where we read, for example, the Metonic Cycle, 19 years, the Calippic Cycle, which is 76 years, the Saros cycle, that is also a 18-year, 11-day and 8-hour period, which is used for the prediction of eclipses. There are also some other resonances of the planets. For example, a 462-year period of the Sun, the Earth, and Venus, and another of 442 years, which is a resonance between the Earth, the Sun, and Saturn. And no doubt there were many more, but we don't have all the manual. We only have perhaps 1/3 or 1/4 of it. This is the sub-mechanism of the moon. Here we can see the moon, the Earth is somewhere here, and the moon goes around the Earth, of course, in 1 month, 29.5 days approximately. And as it goes around, it changes phases, and with this excellent method, we have studied the surface of this part of the mechanism. We have studied the mechanism using computed tomography, taking a number of X-ray images, we combine them appropriately with the appropriate mathematics and physics, and reconstruct a three-dimensional image of the density of the instrument that we can study cutting this data in any way we want to know almost everything about the mechanism. We have studied the mechanism using computed tomography, and here we see a series of CTs that enable us to measure every single gear, axis, pointer, everything. We have studied this instrument using computed tomography. This is one section of the mechanism, and another μηχανήματος με τομογραφή και δύο. This is a series of computed tomographies that enable us to see all the details inside the mechanism in the form of a short film to have an idea on how we work really to study the mechanism. This is a part of the manual that we have studied using three-dimensional photography with a method that enables us to take off the rust using mathematics and physics. And in this way we can read very clearly all the details of the manual in this case. The mechanism is the epitome of Greek philosophy, of Pythagorean philosophy in particular. Pythagorean philosophy is based on determinism and causality, assuming that there are laws of physics that with them we can understand, explain, and predict nature. The mechanism is a computer programmed with gears, and it is based on the laws of physics as they understand them at that time. And moving these gears, one can perform mathematical operations and can have pointers going around showing the result on one side of the mechanism. We have the display of the sun and the moon, and possibly of the planets. The Antikythera mechanism is an astronomical instrument, an analog and to an extent a digital computer, a mechanical cosmos, a planetarium really, and also, I believe, and we work along this line, an astronomical clock. The mechanism predicts all astronomical phenomena known at that time. It gives the phases of the moon. Also, it displays the exact time for the beginning of the Olympic Games and other Greek games festivities. And here at this lower spiral we have the prediction of eclipses. The mechanism had probably the prediction of the position of the planets, not only of the sun and the moon. Octagris is an 8-year period which is inside the mechanism, as the Olympiads are based on this ancient, probably prehistoric calendar that lasts 8 years. Now, in 8 years, the moon goes around the Earth 99 times, and Venus goes around the Sun 5 times. So it is a very important resonance for the solar system, and ancient people, probably from prehistoric times I believe, noticed this and created accurate lunisolar calendars to regulate their lives. On this 8-year calendar are based the sequence of Olympic Games and the other games that the Greeks had for centuries. In this image, we see the orbits of the planets. Right in the middle, at the center, we can see this sort of pentagon that is the trajectory of Venus as seen from Earth. Now, this is really the Octagris, an 8-year period based on the motion of Venus, the Sun, the Earth, and the Moon. Now, it seems that the Pythagoreans have been using this pentagon as their symbol, and as we have discovered inside the mechanism, on top of a gear that gives the motion of the moon, in fact, following to a very good approximation Kepler's second law. I call it Pythagoras signature. Here we see the pentagon, and to the left we can see the pentagon right here that is in the middle of one of the gears. Here we can see the pentagon even better as I have magnified it. This is the display of the moon. The moon is right here, and it goes around the Earth. The mechanism is the epitome of Greek philosophy, of Pythagorean philosophy in particular. Here we can see some of the gears of the moon. This one, in fact, turns the moon around its axis and changes phases during the month. The moon going around the Earth, which is somewhere here, follows to a very good approximation Kepler's second law. Here is one of 4 gears that give variable speed to the moon following Kepler's second law, and around the axis of this particular gear we have what I call Pythagoras signature. Here at the top we can see the pentagon that we have just mentioned. And even better here. We reconstruct a working model of the mechanism based on our research, assuming that it is a clock, an astronomical clock, that is at the same time a planetarium, working with the University of Sonora, the University of Athens, and a Mexican company of monumental clocks, the Relojes Olvera third generation. Today, the mechanism is an excellent educational device that we use to teach the young students, pupil, as it enables us to make people understand how humans can explain nature and even predict some of the phenomena of nature, like, let's say, the eclipses, or predict the phases of the moon or the position of planets. On top of this device inspires the young to study, let's say, computing, technology, mathematics, physics, everything really, including philosophy, linguistics, geography. The educational aspect is also served using exhibitions all around the globe, and we have for this several panels, simulations, videos, three-dimensional interactive photographs. All these are available at request in 14 languages, in fact. I would like to thank the organizers for the invitation to this international conference, and also to my colleagues, because this is a work that we have done with an excellent team. This is our academic team, and the technical team. Thank you very much.